Scientists are releasing millions of genetically modified mosquitoes across Florida. This isn't science fiction, it's cutting-edge genetic engineering being used to combat deadly diseases in one of America's most vulnerable regions. Florida faces a unique challenge. The Aedes aegypti mosquito represents only 4% of the state's mosquito population, but it's responsible for 100% of mosquito-borne disease transmission in the region. The numbers are staggering. Globally, between 100 and 400 million people contract dengue fever annually. In Florida, repeated outbreaks of dengue fever and Zika virus have created a public health crisis. The 2016 Zika outbreak was particularly devastating, causing severe birth defects when the virus infected pregnant women. Traditional mosquito control methods were failing spectacularly. The Florida Keys Mosquito Control District was spending over $1 million annually on conventional approaches. They tried everything: aerial spraying, truck-mounted equipment, introducing fish that ate mosquito larvae. Nothing worked effectively. For residents of the Florida Keys, life meant constant vigilance. Mesh screens on patios became mandatory. Outdoor events required industrial-strength repellent. The constant buzz of mosquitoes wasn't just annoying, it was potentially deadly. Enter Oxitec, a British biotechnology company with a revolutionary approach. Instead of trying to kill mosquitoes with chemicals, they would turn the insect's own biology against them. The process begins in specialized laboratories where researchers inject synthetic DNA into mosquito eggs using microscopic needles. This carefully engineered sequence includes a self-limiting gene that kills female offspring before they can reach maturity and reproduce. Here's how it works. Only males are released into the wild. Since male mosquitoes don't bite humans, they only feed on nectar, they pose no direct threat to people. The modified males mate with wild females, passing on the lethal gene to their daughters. The female offspring die before they can reproduce, gradually reducing the disease-carrying population. The first releases began in summer 2021. Oxitec boxes were placed on volunteer private property throughout the Florida Keys. These containers required nothing more than water to activate. Within days, thousands of genetically modified mosquitoes emerged from each box. The scale was impressive. 144,000 modified mosquitoes in the first wave, followed by 5 million in 2022, with millions more planned for subsequent years. Each mosquito carried a fluorescent red marker, making them trackable under laboratory conditions.
This wasn't a rogue experiment. The program underwent extensive review by multiple agencies over several years. The Environmental Protection Agency, working with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, evaluated the environmental and health impacts. The Florida Department of Agriculture provided additional oversight. The regulatory approval process included comprehensive risk assessments, environmental impact studies, and extensive public comment periods. Scientists had to demonstrate that the approach was safe for humans, non-target species, and the environment. Florida wasn't the first testing ground. Oxitec had already released over 1 billion genetically modified mosquitoes worldwide, with remarkable results in many locations. In Brazil, the city of Indaiatuba installed over 4,500 mosquito-releasing devices starting in July 2023. Within 10 months, inspectors found no mosquito breeding sites in 104 locations that had previously been heavily infested. While neighboring cities experienced massive increases in dengue fever cases, Indaiatuba saw significantly reduced transmission rates. The Cayman Islands provided another success story. A 2010 release resulted in an 80% reduction in disease-carrying mosquito populations, with the program continuing for years due to its effectiveness. Not everyone was convinced. Over 145,000 people signed petitions opposing the Florida program. Community meetings became heated as residents raised legitimate questions about long-term effects and environmental impact. Barry Ray, executive director of the Florida Keys Environmental Coalition, became a vocal critic, arguing that residents hadn't provided proper consent for the program. Some protesters expressed concern about unforeseen consequences. The consent issue highlighted a broader challenge in public health, balancing individual concerns with community-wide benefits. Unlike medical trials where individuals can opt out, environmental public health interventions affect entire populations. The genetic engineering process is remarkably precise. Each mosquito egg receives a carefully calibrated injection of synthetic DNA that includes a protein called TAB, which disrupts normal cell function in female offspring. During development, the mosquitoes are fed tetracycline, an antibiotic that acts as an antidote, allowing the first generation to survive and reproduce. Scientists manually separate male and female larvae by size, ensuring only non-biting males are released. The scale of production is industrial, with facilities capable of producing millions of genetically modified mosquitoes monthly.
The Aedes aegypti mosquitoes being targeted do serve as food for birds, bats, frogs, and fish. However, these mosquitoes are actually invasive species that arrived in the Americas relatively recently. The genetic modifications are designed to disappear within 10 generations, preventing permanent changes to the mosquito genome. Extensive studies have shown minimal impact on non-target species, and the approach is considered more environmentally friendly than widespread chemical spraying. The Florida Keys represent a unique testing ground, a contained island ecosystem where effects can be monitored without risk of uncontrolled spread to mainland populations. The fight against mosquitoes is driving innovation beyond genetic modification. In Fiji, drones release mosquitoes infected with Wolbachia bacteria, which prevents viruses from establishing themselves within the insects. This approach has shown 77% reductions in dengue fever cases in some locations. Researchers have discovered that certain bacteria found on human skin can repel mosquitoes by producing compounds that interfere with their ability to detect human scent. Even Victoria's Secret bombshell perfume was found to repel mosquitoes for over 2 hours. Early results from the Florida program show promise. Monitoring data indicates successful mating between modified and wild mosquitoes, with the expected reduction in female offspring. Disease transmission rates in test areas have remained low. Plans are already underway to expand the program to other states, including Texas and California, pending regulatory approval. The technology is being refined to make it more efficient and cost-effective. The Florida Mosquito Program represents more than just pest control. It's humanity's first large-scale attempt to use genetic engineering to reshape disease transmission patterns. The success or failure of these experiments will influence how genetic modification is used to address environmental and health challenges worldwide. The technology being developed has applications far beyond mosquitoes. Similar approaches could potentially control other disease vectors, agricultural pests, or invasive species. The program raises important questions about the ethics of environmental modification. While the immediate goal is disease prevention, the broader implications concern humanity's relationship with nature and our responsibility for genetic modifications that could have long-term consequences. The balance between public health benefits and individual concerns remains challenging. Transparent communication, community engagement, and continued monitoring are essential for maintaining public trust. Florida's genetically modified mosquito program embodies both the promise and complexity of modern biotechnology. While concerns about environmental intervention are valid and important, the program addresses a real public health crisis using scientifically sound methods that have undergone extensive regulatory review. The technology isn't about creating science fiction scenarios, it's about using precise genetic tools to save lives and reduce suffering. As climate change expands the range of disease-carrying mosquitoes, innovative approaches like genetic modification may become essential tools in humanity's public health arsenal. The question isn't whether we should interfere with nature. We already do that extensively. The question is whether we can do it responsibly, transparently, and effectively. The Florida Mosquito Program represents our attempt to answer that challenge. The future of mosquito control will likely combine multiple approaches: genetic modification, biological control, environmental management, and continued innovation. What's happening in Florida today may well determine how humanity addresses vector-borne diseases for generations to come. This is science in action, complex, carefully regulated, and focused on one of humanity's oldest enemies. The mosquitoes that have plagued our species for millennia may finally be meeting their match in the laboratories and field stations of modern biotechnology. What do you think about using genetic engineering to combat disease-carrying mosquitoes? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos exploring the cutting edge of science and technology.